What got me into the teaching industry? Well, I'll tell you, when I retired from my profession in 2020, I kind of laid on my butt for about a year. I live in Chester, about a mile and a half or so from Chester Academy, and I saw they were always looking for substitute teachers. And I said to my wife, "Gee, that's something I might want to try," and she thought I was crazy. Knew the school secretary, Ann Parnell, Mrs. Parnell, for over 20 years, knew her late husband as well. Spoke with her, and she gave me a packet. I hesitated filling it in, and I filled it in, submitted it, and kind of thought, well, let's see how this works, and then they'll probably run a security check on me, which they they did, but right afterwards, Mrs. Parnell said, "Can you start tomorrow?" Which I did. So at first it was just kind of like something that I wanted to maybe just try to do something to occupy my time, but it turned into a passion and a love. I got hooked the very first day, and I just haven't had any regrets about it since then. It's been wonderful. I would say one of my favorite hobbies is I like to read. The last couple of years, I've kind of gone between reading. I've gotten very interested in quantum physics and physics in general, and I was never really mathematically inclined. Wasn't my forte, but the theories that go into it have really kind of got me going, got my mind going. How you reconcile Einstein and Newtonian physics with particle physics, how they just don't kind of relate to each other. It seems like there's a saying, the smaller you get, the crazier you get. So I've been doing a lot of reading on that. I finished the book, oh gosh, what was the name of it? American Prometheus, which the movie Oppenheimer was based on. It was over 600 pages. It was like reading a textbook half the time, but it was very, very interesting, where they talked about the physics of the nuclear fission and so forth. The other thing I've been interested in lately, and I actually kind of got into this when I started working in education, was that I've always been interested in history. I think if I had it to do over again, I'd probably be a history teacher. But I really got into the study of World War I and the cause and effects of it. Because if you look at the present day world, what's going on in Russia and the Middle East, you can track that down to the events that happened after the close of World War I, the way the world had changed. So I've been doing a lot of reading on that off and on. I just started reading the book, The Guns of August by Barbara Tuchman, which is basically talks about the causes of World War I and basically up until the first really major battle of World War I. And about 40 years ago, I had a copy of that book. I've read pieces of it, brought it into work with me, handed it about, it disappeared. So I'm just rereading it again, and it's been very, very interesting. So I would say reading is probably my biggest hobby. Plus, I've been doing a lot of writing. I like to write. I've been writing some very small short stories, but they're just kind of just for my own entertainment. I don't try to get them published or anything.